Hi everyone, it's Gail Scott here, Galactic Channeler. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. This is a place where I bring in messages that are channeled through me from different energies, different collectives, different mediums all over the universe. And all of my messages are different, but they have a common theme that goes through them. And this message this time, I'm calling it the consciousness of the whole. Now, why am I calling it that? Because we are wakening up as a collective, as a group of human beings who live on planet Earth. Some people would say that they're already awake, and awake simply means that you're very aware of yourself. You know that you are more than what you see in this body, and you have a sense that there is something bigger than you, and that you are also responsible for your life. And it is not outside of you, but it is all inside of you. And that brings me to the message that came through, which was really all about this messy, challenging life that we're all dealing with right now. And our constant struggle for life to be better. You know, when I make more money, when I live in that house, when I'm in a relationship, when I get the job of my dreams, then I'll be happy. And that's not really what we're here for. We're not here on a timeline that moves us into the future and then we'll find contentment. We can actually find ourselves in some form of contentment right now if we have conscious awareness of that. So most people are very outside of themselves and they think that everything that is outside of them is impacting them. And this is when, things get messy. And this is when we actually begin to believe that there's a right and a wrong thing going on in life, whether it's in your life or in the world or with the government or in somebody else's life. It's not really that anything is wrong. Of course, wrong or bad experiences bring us negative emotions. And that is what has us feel a sense of judgment around that. But this message today is all about how you can begin to create an awareness of you being part of everything. And also, of course, you being an individual within everything as well. So some lives are really good. Some people do come in and they get an easy is, something I put in quotation marks, but, some people you would say they have it easier than others. And that I believe is soul directed, it's soul chosen, and you have a part to play in that. You made an agreement with your soul when you came in that you would experience different challenges as you went through life. So when you decide what life you're going to have when you come in, you and your soul are in it together. And as I've said in many of my videos just recently, you and I chose to be here at this challenging time and to go through all of these major things that are happening on our planet. And that's what we call in the personal self-help world growth. And most people who go through difficult experiences would say that if they've gained some self-awareness, that they grew as a result of that experience. And we're all on our own timeline. There are multiple timelines going on constantly, but they're all kind of coming together at this point in time to create the new earth, to create our shift out of 3D, third dimension, and into 5D, which is the energy of love. And so every time you judge an experience, you're back in that 3D negative energy. You're not in that self-awareness, self-conscious place of love. So we are constantly trying to find that. And most of us are trying to find it outside of ourselves, which is not the place to look. Because no matter what else is going on around you, any level of utopia will not be found there. Now, you might think that it would be found there, you know, if you have lots of money, or nobody's sick in your world, or your business is working really well, or everybody seems to be happy. Of course, those are all things that impact you. But again, they're all from the outside. And so, you know, your nirvana, your utopia, it's actually a state of being that comes from inside of you. When you're loving yourself, when you're happy with yourself, when you respect yourself, when you can be alone with yourself, when you can be okay with where you are in the world in the present moment, and you're not constantly seeking to be over there somewhere else when this happens. And that's something that I've struggled with myself, especially after going through a major divorce and retraining myself, and you know, starting a business and wishing that it were different. And I've kind of now found some peace in the sense that I'm okay with where I am right now. And are you okay with where you are right now? And so if you're not, what happens is that you begin to be given opportunities to kind of shift the dynamics of what you can create in your world with this self-consciousness that can come about. And, you know, it requires action taking, which some of us don't want to do because it's uncomfortable. Well, of course, it's uncomfortable. Every time you stretch out of your comfort zone, you're going to find yourself in expansion. And when you're in expansion, that's when you're growing. That's when you're becoming more aware of who you really are, of all the infinite possibilities that are available in the energetic field that you live in. And our world is going through a massive transformation. I keep saying this in all of these videos, but in the midst of that, you get to find new possibilities, new opportunities. And it's not about striving to have them. And it's not about, you know, trying to figure out what it's going to look like, because you and your spirit and your soul can actually create that without having to work too hard. Now, what do I mean by that? When you follow your heart, when you listen to your intuition, when you are guided by the taps on your shoulder, things flow very easily. Magic happens. And this is how you can begin to create your own version of utopia in the messy. Because when you notice yourself, now you're more mindful. You're more mindful of who you're being, what you're saying, the kind of experience that you're having, how other people impact you, how you impact other people. And recognize that as you are having this personal experience, everyone else is too. And if you can come from a place of acceptance and appreciation and acknowledgement of yourself in the present moment, you begin to recognize that everyone else is having that too. And you can have more compassion and you can have more empathy for them. And maybe what they do doesn't bother you as much. And maybe who they are being, you don't judge quite as much. And maybe you can go inside more and really get a feel for what works for you. And then you begin to see that just as you are one unit, one human being in the world, so is everybody else. And we're actually all very similar, but not identical. And that's true if you look at any kind of grouping. So if you look at, you know, an ant's nest, if you went up there with a microscope, you probably would see that there's differences in all the different ants, but from a distance, they all look the same. And that's true also of bees in a beehive. They all look the same, but I'm sure if you went up, you would see that they all have different markings and they all have different shapes and different sizes. And isn't that true of us as human beings? But here we all are, we're living in this world as a collective. And you're part of that. You're part of the whole. You're part of all of this. And just as every single ant matters and every single bee matters, you matter too. And what you do creates an impact not just for you, but for every single person that you talk to, deal with, meet, engage with. And so the question is now, how are you doing that? And do you have a sense that you really do make a difference? So we know that if a butterfly flaps its wings on one side of the world, it can create a dramatic impact on the other side of the world. Are you aware that you too have that same kind of impact? Might not seem quite so dramatic, but it is. You see, because we're all energy. And energy is, how can I describe this to you? Energy comes in two forms. It comes as a wave, or it comes as a particle. And the particle is the solid part. That's where you use your focus and boom, things happen. But in amongst all of that, there's all these energetic waves that you can choose how to create the solid in your reality. And so as you go about your business and you be who you are, you being, someone who is complaining and negative and not aware of who you're being and the impact you have on others? Or are you realizing that just like you, everyone matters in this world? And everyone has selected their own life experience, and everyone is playing their own role in this journey that we're going through. And so this message is really getting you to realize that, just like the grains of sand on the beach, you are individual. You are one of a kind. You are singular. But when you put all those grains of sand together, you get a beautiful, expansive beach. And that's what it's like to live within this collective of humanity. You become aware that you are part of it all. And so how are you being in this part of it all? Are you aware of what you're saying, what you're doing? Are you aware of the impact that you have on others? Are you aware of how they impact you? This is kind of big picture thinking, and also realizing that at the micro level, we all make a difference. We all make a difference with our focus. And so how are you choosing out of the waves of energy to create in your world? Well, we need to practice. And we need to practice having a better feeling thought. We shift our perspective when we focus on the heart and we focus on love. And we actually shift that wave of vibrational frequency into a better feeling thought and a better feeling experience. And you can do it in your mind. You can do it with your heart. You can do it physically, emotionally, spiritually. You begin to shift your vibrational frequency by being in the heart, recognizing that we're all the same, that we're all in this journey together. And you can put some of these concepts to action by recognizing each day with mindfulness of who you're being, what you're doing, what are you creating, how are you being with other people? Are other people happy when they see you and they spend time with you? Are you happy when you see people and spend time with them? Because it's vice versa. It impacts both ways. So you have access to an amazing intuitive guidance system that is in your heart. And when you do that, you connect to not just yourself, but to everyone and everything else. And so today's message is a beautiful one for us to recognize that this utopia that we seek, this wonderful, loving, happy, fun-filled, rich experience of life is available to you in every moment, depending on what you choose to focus on and how you choose to manage your particular vibration. So as you go about your day, begin to notice how you impact the whole, how you are part of the whole, and how you can create a shift for yourself first, recognizing that that shift will create a shift everywhere else in our world. And the sooner we do that, the better we will all feel. Doesn't mean we won't have challenges, but we might find them easier to deal with. So I hope that this has been a helpful message for you. If you like these kinds of messages, which are explanations of the channelings that I do, please subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to listen to the actual channeled message, which is generally around 15 to 20 minutes, you can find them on mixcloud.com/Bosie International. And if you're someone who is really into this and would like to have a private reading, please contact me directly at my email below. And until next time, enjoy life and be okay with being in the messy. Thank you.